Get a good look at it right here. And thought we'd do something a little different than usual. I know I've got a few different series. Couldn't ask for a picture-perfect touchdown if you tried. Perfectly level, and wow, did that work out. Alright, so as you can see here, we've got high oxygen warm because we're on the Earth-like planet. So in this series, what I want to do is what many of you have asked about, and how a lot of you actually got started, which is a learning series. In this series, we're taking this straight from the very close to vanilla as I can get, and minimize my mods. I've got 6 mods on here. They're what I consider to be quality of life mods. Plant and cook because I like to grow things, and in the vanilla game you wouldn't have those. And then of course I also like to have my music and sounds, and I like to be able to have the Ava voice because I like the sound of that voice when it's doing announcements and things like that. Again, those are both mods that aren't going to be in the vanilla game, but they don't really impact a lot of things. I just enjoy them. I also have the fast cargo ships mod, which allows the cargo ships to spawn twice as much. I found that even though it's not supposed to, I do feel it kind of affects planetary encounters as well a little bit. Additionally, in this we have the economy ships plus mod. I find that having that mod in place does add more ships. These mods aren't going to really affect us down here on the surface too much. More importantly, they'll affect us once we get into space. So the goal is, of course, to set ourselves up, establish ourselves a base, build ourselves some transportation, and begin to get ourselves together so that we can get up into space. Ultimately, in this series, I'd like to see, us just to play some space engineers and maybe learn. And if you have questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer them. If you have questions during each of my live streams, feel free to ask. I've been playing this game for quite a long time, and I just absolutely love it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. From this respawn pod, you got a couple of options, and we're going to jump out here and take a look around. First of all, you're going to start out with your tools. You got a grinder, you got a hand drill, and you got a welder. And then inside this seat here, because we have economy in place, we have a station. And of course, you've got a sidearm with a couple of magazines, 4 magazines. Protect yourself if any animals come running, which currently we do not have wolves or spiders set. Maybe later on in the series, we'll bring wolves into play and you could be able to see that, or spiders or something like that. You have to pardon my sinuses are a little bit wonky. So this is your vanilla start pod. I use a lot of different kinds of start pods. Back here we've got our survival kit. Over here we've got our H2O2 generator, and you'll see it comes with a couple of bottles and some ice. And so I'm going to go ahead and take this bottle since a lot of my playthroughs I don't have a jetpack, but because we're doing this as close to vanilla as I can kind of get, then we've got that. Up here you'll see we have an ore detector that'll detect nearby ores, and so let's see if there is any. According to this, there is no nearby ores at all. Lovely. So that's going to be a thing on our to-do list. You bring up your control panel, you can see you got a battery, you got a beacon, you got an antenna, you got at least one landing gear, which for some reason, I don't know why, but it's not showing the rest of them. You hit this and it brings up all the stuff that's not on here. You got atmospheric thrusters, you got corner lights, interior lights, there's the rest of the landing gear. Got a hydrogen thruster, parachute hatch, you've got a passenger seat which you're sitting in, a small cargo container, and a timer block and a survival kit. All those things can be broken down into what we're going to do. Now, when I started doing a series like this last time, I turned that into a rover. So, I wonder if I shouldn't turn it into a flyer. Usually the way I figure out what I'm going to do with it, I'll do one of 3 things. I'll turn it into a rover if I got a lot of flat terrain like this. This is perfect. I could drive around all over the place. But when I got mountains like that, I start thinking, well, maybe I want to transfer, kind of build a flyer out of this, which you can do. Now, here's the real fun part. Because I am a glutton for punishment, I also have progression in place, which you can opt not to do, which makes it a lot easier for you because you don't have to build certain blocks to get certain blocks unlocked. I like a challenge, so we're going to go this with a little bit of a challenge where you're, we're going to have to build stuff. So when you got progression on, the very first thing you want to do is go over here and start grinding down some of these kind of blocks so you can unlock stuff, because that's how you get it. You got to do your landing gear. It's important. See, landing gear H2O2 gen are big. Now, when I want to come up, say I'm not sure, I'll just tap the grinder just a little bit, and if you notice on the right, it goes down to 90%, but it's still functional. And now I'll try to see if it'll. Nope. See, unknown technology. You have to research it first. Well, that means that there's something else blocking it. Something you've got to learn first in the progression tree, which is very frustrating. So that's going to make it kind of difficult for us to make a flyer, because we're probably going to want to rearrange a couple of those thrusters, so that also helps make our decision a little bit easier. I'm going to check this. Can I get in there? Nope. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'll take these blocks off. Oops. Nope. I don't. I want the platform, not that. And you'll notice as you do that, you get components, which you can use to build stuff. Yeah, I didn't think I have any wolves going, but you never know. Sometimes I get a wild hair. Come on. Oh, we'll just use our jetpack to get in here. I want to get in here and see if that... Okay. Test it. It works. Okay, good. We'll grind this down. Grind down, and then... Nope, it didn't do anything, because you see, it's not in the progression tree. So we're not sure what else is in the progression tree. But don't ever grind this down unless you're ready for the consequences, because batteries, you will lose the power cells, and you can only make power cells with an assembler. So, or find them. So yeah, you want to wait until you have an assembler before you start screwing around with those. I like to get a good zap on my like that with the survival kit, which will of course restore your stuff. It restores your energy and your life. It does not restore H2 and O2 unless it's connected to a H2O2 generator that has active ice inside. So that's why it's good to get your little bottles. So now that we've had our orientation about this fine little piece of equipment, which incidentally you'll see inside here, there's the beacon, which you can set to so you remember where it's at, but your respawn pod will always have respawn pod there unless you delete it, the marker, which you can do in the GPS. And then of course you got your antenna up there, and we're going to go ahead and jump up here, and then this is where our parachute comes out of. Parachute hatch probably has a parachute in it actually, and then as you can see there's all kinds of metal plates. Alright, so given the situation we're in, this circumstance, we may have to go the direction of a rover unless we can go and figure out what the progression is. So let's go ahead and take a look. And you got different categories, and you go find your movement. Now, what is the progression for the Atmo thruster? Well, I'm looking, because I honestly don't remember. Let's see here. Looks like we have to do some kind of cockpit in order to get the Atmo thruster. So a flyer is still on the table. So let's look and see what kind of components we need, and then we can start zipping around here and getting some materials. I think in this playthrough, I'm really torn. So either way, we've got to have a cockpit, because you got to be able to drive your vehicle, right? So yeah, a cockpit's going to be kind of necessary. So we're going to need to have some sort of cockpit in here. Let's see here. We could go with something like a buggy cockpit or something like that. Looks like we're going to need a lot of computer components and some motors. So what we need to do is we need to figure out where we're going to dig. So I like to take this opportunity, use a little bit of hydrogen, keep my drill out, which will detect ores, sorry, and fly around and see if I pick up anything. It's a great opportunity to get a good look at the land. If we see a base locate, oops, ouch. If we see a base location that looks really good, we can always just move everything over that way once we get mobile. Now there has been times where I have torn up my pod and used it to make a base somewhere by hand. Now usually ores will have a discoloration on the surface of the ground. Like this could be ore, no? It's just rough terrain. Okay, we're looking. It's kind of tricky for me. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but for some reason I always have a challenge on the Earth-like planet trying to see where the ores are. I don't have a problem on all the other ones because the splotches are easy to spot, especially on Mars. Yeah, see that? I'm not picking up any ores out here. So it looks like we're going to be using dirt and gravel. And uh-oh, now you notice my H2 meter got red. The more gravity you're on, the more you're going to use up your H2. So that's a thing. Now I see up there's snow, and snow means ice, and ice means fuel. Like for my jetpack, for engines, and also to be able to do hydrogen and oxygen. We don't need oxygen because, you know, we're here in the Earth-like world, and we'll show that we don't need any oxygen because, see, I can breathe. I'm not dying. As a matter of fact, let's just leave it open and catch some of this nice, fresh, Earth-like terran air. Alright, so what are we going to do? Well, I, for one, think we need to go ahead and get some dirt. Now, let's go ahead and dig it down. Now, you can right-click to get the ores like you see there, or left-click. And if you left-click, it's going to provide a huge divot, but you don't get any ore. It's good to remember that so you don't accidentally get yourself in a bad spot. Now, if I crouch down like I'm doing, and I do this, then you'll dig deep. But watch out. In some places, or with some challenges, getting out of your hole is a bit of a problem. So it's one more thing you got to worry about. Now you see that there's organics. The organics is the grass and stuff like that, and that has to do with the mod for plant and cook that I have. We keep going until we get more stone. Now you got to bear in mind that your stone is it's most effectively refined in the survival kits. Your refineries can refine them, but through a lot of testing, me and several other players have discovered that you get more bang for your buck using the survival kit. Sometimes, if I'm going to be utilizing rock as well for some of my builds, I'm going to have a dedicated survival kit just for that purpose. Now, as you see, we're getting a few, but a lot of organics, so we need to go deeper. Let's take it down. Now, the deeper you go, the more stone there is, and the less topsoil, sand, ash, that kind of thing. If you notice, the strata is changing. That means that you're going to get more stone for every piece you mine. See, we're looking in the 80s, the 50s. Alright, we're going to keep going, because this is still kind of sandy, so we're going to go deeper. And we keep going, deeper and deeper. Okay, now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's some 230. And then we look over here and we like, what's this rock like? And I'll turn my headlight on so you can see. That's the sandy soil, and now we're in the actual bedrock, the actual stone, where rocks like this will happen. See? 196, 126. Those are all stone rocks from the stone layer, the rock layer. And you just keep going. You want those rocks. Those are the best rocks. Because again, bang for your buck. You get a more condensed ore that you can utilize. Now I am going to try my best in this playthrough to try to keep myself off of my jetpack as much as I possibly can. So we're going to dig our way out. And the reason why I'm going to do that is so that you guys can see how you function when you're all out of hydrogen. Because that can be kind of disappointing and challenging when you're trying to do a bunch of stuff and you're like, well, I can't. So see how I did that? I didn't even use my jetpack. I just dug myself out. So now I'm going to stand up. I'm going to run over to my survival kit and let's get some stone going on here. So you go to production and you have to actually indicate that you want to make ingots of stone. I like to load this up with like thousands, and that way I don't have to think about it. Now you'll notice that you can produce some components with your survival kit, which is really, really useful. However, we're going to need to get a basic assembler at some point because we're going to want more components than just that. And a regular assembler, along with an industrial assembler, will produce even more components you need for other items. Now the organics, you'll notice I still have the organics. I'm going to drop that off in the seat because we'll need that when I do that mod over on wherever we do our base. And I keep feeding it this. It's a lot easier if I've got like a actual like cargo pod to put it on, but right now we're just trying to get components here. Okay, so we know, and you can access it from here. You can also put it in here if you want to. You can go that way. I just like to use the easiest way to do it, the closest location. Alright, so let's go to production. I know I'm going to need probably about 100 computer chips, so we're going to put that in production. I'm pretty sure we're going to need a few of these, so I'm going to go ahead and put 10 of those in production. I know we're going to need construction components, so I'm going to put 30 of those in construction, and we're going to need some steel plate, so I'm going to put that in production. I'm just picking arbitrary numbers that I know I'm going to need, and even if I'm making it now, we've got all this dirt. It's just a matter of time and effort to mine that dirt to fill it up. You'll notice in the middle it tells you what your stored materials, what's required and available. That tells you pretty much what you've got available, as it says, and what you're going to need for all the stuff you've got going on for your build. So I'm still trying to decide if we want to do a flyer or not, because I didn't really see anything that jumped out at me for base-wise, and we have 79%. So let's go ahead and jump up on our jetpack and just kind of pop up and look around. We're in this little, really cool little valley. It looks like a nice little valley. Looks like there's a way out up there if we were to travel over land, but it's mostly all rocks and mountains. So, do we want to have a flyer or do we want to have a rover? That is the question. I don't see any encounters in the area, so let's go ahead and pop back down again, and let's do that notepad we have in here. We can see where this particular station is. So we have this. It says I used to visit this place at a regular basis during my engineering days, and they always had some good deals available. Go see if they're still at it. So this is the SMTL group. So I, from long experience, know that at the end of the name is usually an indicator what kind of station it is. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a military station, but I could be wrong. Military stations generally buy components and sell munitions, but you never know. And you can always get contracts that make you credits there, and you can go inside and find little places where you can get tools and maybe loose credits that are lying around. And occasionally you can get a refill of hydrogen and oxygen, and once in a while you can get tablets that'll show you where the other stations are. So let's go ahead and set ourselves a GPS location for that using the deal there. And where is this station? It is 29.43 kilometers away that way. Well, judging from the terrain, it looks like it's pretty much going to be a a situation where we're going to need to fly. We could try to take a rover over there. I don't know. Could be kind of tricky. So, to do a flyer, we got to look at the turbines. We're going to need metal grids and a lot of motors. So I'm going to take a look and see what kind of turbines we have available. First of all, we haven't opened up yet because we haven't gotten our cockpit yet, which is going to be like kind of important. But it looks like we need a lot of metal grids to do a lot of these. Oh, these are large grid. Got to go down to small grid. Yeah, we still need metal grids to use those, and we're going to need metal grids for those. And those, we can't use those in atmosphere. And the thruster components are kind of specific, so I hate to say it, but it looks like we're grounded. We're going to have to make a rover, and then we're going to have to figure out how to get across those mountains, I think. Well, not necessarily. Let's give it a try. Alright, so this is where we're going to put our cockpit when we get it done. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get the organics out. Now this thing's going to probably... I'm glad that all 4 of those are set, because we're going to lose that one, because that one is attached to there. So I'm going to first start out by taking the top out. We're going to try to make a flyer out of this, and we'll see. Now I don't think I'll be able to fit that cockpit in here like this, so actually let's take those tops off too. Besides, we're going to need the metal components anyway. And we're going to take the seat. We can always attach the seat to the side. And as a matter of fact, attaching the seat to the side is actually a really good idea. Because when you attach it, say back here, and you put the seat back there, it gives you storage, which is really useful when you've got to do a bunch of different things like load up salvage you found, things like that. Plus it gives you an opportunity to be able to sit and recharge. If you notice, we're recharging, which is really nice and gives us a really nice ability to do that. I use them in place of cargo pods all the time because cargo pods require usually grids. Alright, so we have our components, we have some metal, and we have the others. So let's go ahead and get this set up. We're going to go around to the front. Now I'm going to try to keep these these episodes at a relatively short level. I'm not going to use my usual long levels of super long ones because I want to do it in segments. And I think that makes it really useful. Let me know in the comments if you disagree and you think that a longer one would be better and cover multiple topics. I'm more than happy to do so. Right now we're just orienting ourselves to that and beginning our build on this rover. The next episode we do is going to be for the actual completion of the build. But for now, let's get started. I am going to go over here to control. We're going to find out what rover cockpit fits us best. Not rover, but flyer cockpit, I should say. Well, that's a nice one. Now you'll notice that there's a, hey, welcome, thanks for joining. These are connector locations. You want to bear that in mind when you're putting your vehicle together, whether it's a flyer or whatever. And you're going to connect those up. So it's good to know which ones are which and where they all go. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to orient myself based on where this battery is, because I can't move the battery. I know some people don't do that and they orient based on like what is good, like we're going to put right here. And I found that if you orient yourself based on the battery, then you stand a very good chance of getting a really balanced build early in the game that you can use to get around. So we're going to go ahead and clear these things off here, and get these things cleared off here. Now, given the position of this battery, I want to be able to be in a position so that it is either on one side of me or it is behind me. I am going to go with I'm going to go with the position of it being in the back. Yeah, I think that would be really good. So, what would be the best way to do that? Well, I'm thinking the best way to put this set this battery up, honestly, if we did it on to one side, we could put the H2O2 generator on the other side. So maybe putting it here is the best option. And if we put it inside here, then we can connect it via these pipes and we'd be good to go. And I think that's going to be our best option. I really do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put the chosen cockpit. So we're going to pick, and we'll just set it on this side here for a second. We got two connectors there. Now let's look at this one. Now this one's a little different. We've got a lot of connection options on this one. This come with the new DLC, however, so we're going to avoid that one. Now the fighter cockpit, well, it's creepy long, and it can be kind of a pain for a beginner type of starter deal here. And the industrial cockpit requires metal grids, which we don't have a lot of. Now the cab cockpit is really cool, and I like that for rover builds, but not for a flyer. So that leaves this cockpit right here, which is what we're going to end up doing. Now I'm putting it here temporarily because I want to arrange things, get inside of here, and get rid of the junk that I don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and take a block, and I'm going to fill in this part here because, honestly, we kind of need it. I do not know if that'll remain where it is, but we'll see. Now, the beacon can provide us with some more components, and it'll give us something that we could try to... Nope, we don't have the technology for it. Well, we've ground it down so far. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. Now, this would be really nice to have, so we'll hold that in place. Let's get rid of the timer block because we don't need that. But what we do want to do is fill in our little hole we got down here if we can. No, it won't let us do it. We'll have to figure that out in a little bit. Okay, we've got a little spot there to hold on to things. Let's see here. That goes to there, so we're gonna need... See, this is the problem. Now I realize, wow, we can't do that because this is gonna connect wrong. So what we're gonna have to do, I wonder if we can grind this down and build it again. We can. So let's go ahead and grind this down. Nope, it doesn't give us anything, but I'm still gonna do it anyway. It has nothing in it. Okay, let's get rid of these connections here. We can use them and connect them later. Wonder if there's anything in there. Nope. Okay. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and... Whoa. We're going to go wow because that's a lot. Okay. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need it. And this is going to give us a few metal grids if we end up using them somewhere. Alright, now, I want to try to connect... across. Or at very least, be able to have... I can't really reach it. Sometimes you can get the very edge of a grid. Well, at least we can get it in there, right? Alright, so the H2O2 generator, we're going to put this facing here, and then we'll have it set. We'll turn this around here, and then we'll be good to go. So let's go ahead and get this, and I'll show you what I mean. Now you'll see that there's a container here. That is a temporary container, okay? That means that whatever was in there, we've got it. We're going to have to hold on to it because that will disappear. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and see if we can get this block in place. All right, we can. That is outstanding. Let's get it in place. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to set this H2O2 generator in place right here. I'm not worried too much about the coloration. I think the coloring is just fine for what we're doing. So I'm turning it this way. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is so that we have... Hold on, I gotta get my grinder out. Grinder, where are you? I want to line it up with that a little closer to the battery. The battery's going to be the weight in this, so I kind of want to have it lined up where it's just on the edge of the battery. There we go, right here? No, right here. Okay, there we go, right there. We're going to rotate in place. Come on, rotate. Really? There, like that. Alright, we'll go ahead and put it in place. Now what this is going to enable us to do is still be able to utilize it for a few other things. So now we have it in place. Now we can take our little cockpit, and that can go, if you'll notice, in the back we have those two connectors. We can line it up like that, and now we have a cockpit. So let's go ahead and get it built up as much as we can. Looks like we need more displays, more computer parts, and some steel plates. Since we're getting the cockpit set up, we don't necessarily have to do the other stuff. See, now we have our computers. Let's go ahead and go into production and get us some of those too. But we can't get any glass. Well, that means we're just going to have to wait until we get our base set up to complete this. But you can operate it without glass. It still works just fine. We have an oxygenated environment, so that's okay. So let's go ahead and get the rest of the components, and let's finish off our cockpit. Now we have a cockpit in place. We can jump inside, and we can get recharged, and we can get O2 and H2 if we have ice in the H2O2 gen. Look, we have a new spawn. We have a Vanguard outpost. We'll go into that in a later episode because I think we're going to check it out. So anyway, so we're getting a start on our little flyer here. We're going to go ahead and take this off because we're going to move this around real quick. We'll take all the materials out of here and we'll get this all situated. Alright, ready, set, time to flip. Honestly, I'm kind of excited about doing it this way. I haven't done something like this in a while, and I really, really like to. Alright, so we have this in place here. Now, I wish I could put a cargo container on this thing right now, but unfortunately we don't have the material on hand for that. But what I do have is the material to do a small cargo pod, because we just took one, so we can probably get away with it. Now let's take a look and just to make sure. Can we do a medium cargo container? Well, you know, look at the materials. We could actually pull that off. Maybe in a later episode what we'll do is we'll put a connector in the middle and we'll stick a cargo pod off the side over here where we have access to this, and it'll offset that battery. We'll test that out later. For now, let's go ahead and get a small cargo pod in place, because by doing a cargo pod, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be all about progression, and we're going to unlock new grids. Check it out. See? By building a small cargo container, you've unlocked a new block. And this is pretty much how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the materials into, let's see, here. And we'll drop the stone in there too. Now, I can click and I can bring up all the other stuff attached, including the H2O2 gen. Because I have the large connector connecting to the large connector port on the survival kit, I can also put the ice and my oxygen bottles and my hydrogen bottle in there, which will fill up. they will not pass through small connectors. Only ore and ice go through there, and power and gases like oxygen and hydrogen. You got to use the large connectors, which is why when it comes time for us to put a cargo pod in here, we're going to move that back, and we're going to either put the cargo pod in the middle, or we'll do a connector with large adapters that'll be able to have access to that. So now we've got this set up. We have some grids left over from the hydrogen bottle, which means we could literally make, if you look, 1 grid per turbine. We could make 4 more turbines. That's really great because we're going to need that. But we also need to have a gyro. That's another really important thing. So up here at the top, we're going to go ahead and we're going to grind off one of these. How about this one right here? And if you'll notice, we've got a nice little spot right there. And we're going to put a gyro there. Now that... Oh no! We can't place it there. Okay, that's okay. We'll just go back another notch. Probably because it's not smooth enough. Let's try it again. There we go. Now the nice thing about this is, now that we have that, we have control over the pitch and yaw, the left and right rolls. So once we go airborne, we'll be doing a lot better. And I don't know for sure if that is going to stay down there, but this is how it's done. So we got these in place. We're good to go that way, right? Wrong. We need to get more thrusters. We need 2 facing backwards just to give us enough forward motion, unless we don't have enough grids. The key is to have at least 1 thruster in every direction, 2 downwards and 2 going backwards to give us that push. So let's see what we can do. We've got movement, we've got our thrusters, we're going to stick with these kind of thrusters. Alright, we're going to need a lot of materials for this, I'm sure. Huh. Well, let's see here. You know what we're going to need to do? We're going to need to do a left and right thruster. So let's go ahead and go with one of these other ones, like this. Now that's a good one. We can put one here, we can put one here, and that gives us left and right. Now that's going to give us some maneuvering, and we can just clear these plates out of the way. And the overhang actually kind of protects it, so I kind of like that. Every time I do this, it's all new. It's really nice, actually. I kind of like that. Uh-oh, we need steel tubes. Oh no, where are we going to get steel tubes? Well, you know what? We got a location for steel tubes right here. We can take the small steel tube from the antenna. We don't need it. Now here lies the problem. That's our left and right. Even though we got a grid... Oh, it's a large steel tube. No! Well, we can't make large steel tubes because they're not listed in the survival kit as something we can build. We need an actual other one for that. So, and they're always going to have a large steel tube. Well, that just means that we're just going to have to sacrifice from somewhere else. And we've got weather. It's raining. So I'm thinking we've got one side. Let's go ahead and we'll take this down. And we'll use that one. That's a large steel tube. Alright, so we got left and right. We got downward thrust. Now we need forward thrust. So let's go ahead and move this one into a position that's a little bit more, I don't know, forward thrusty. There we go. Okay, now we got forward thrust. We've got downward thrust. We have left and right thrust, so that just... Oh, wait. Yeah, so we need thrust coming towards the Earth, and we need thrust for braking. Well, that's going to be tricky. So let's see if we've got anything else on here. So here's the problem. We could take the steel tubes off of here, and that would give us thrust in the braking thrust and the downward thrust, but it would put us in a position where we wouldn't have our H2O2 generator. But is that okay? We have oxygen. I think it's okay. I think it would be smart. So let's go ahead and grind this down just to get the tubes. Okay? This will give us our option for our thrusters. Now we're going to go ahead and take this off too. Alright, so we got left and right. We got a thruster for thrust. We need a downward facing thruster. So the downward thruster, I'm thinking, would go really well probably right here. So if we go and we put a block right here, and then we go and we get a flat atmo thruster and we put it down like that, that'll provide us with that. And now we just need a braking thruster, and we could get a braking thruster and put it right up here. Well, we need 5 more motors. Well, you know what that means. Time to get into this survival kit and produce some new motors. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But we can't because we don't have enough dirt. So down in the hole we go. Now we just grabbed a little bit. We got run out of hydrogen. Yep, see? Now the jetpack's low. That's a hard thing. And here's the problem. We can't even get to our tanks in here because we've broken this down. Ah, it's a tough life. So let's go ahead and add our stone to it. Again, gotta hit this. Notice I had to reset it because we had ourselves a little bit of a problem there. Alright, so we're gonna jump in here and we're gonna see what happens. Well, it looks like we can only get our energy up. So that's, we'll have, as soon as we have those, as soon as it produces those, we're at 2. Three. Ah, so close. Let's go and add some more rocks. Because I'm pretty sure we got enough in here to get this going. And then, let's see here. Almost there. We're so close. Look, we're only 2 away. We need 1 more. So close. Where's the dirt? Where's the dirt? Now I'm glad I did that. Alright, great. Now we can go up here. Boom, boom, boom. Jump, 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 jump. I'm so soggy. Alright, so as soon as we get that next one, we'll be good to go. And then we'll be able to start flying to wherever we want to go. We're going to do a test hover, and then we're going to call it an episode. Alright, let's check it out. Alright, we're active. We're good. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just out of force of habit, but that's okay. Alright, now, we're going to go in here. We're going to find the Atmos thrusters. We got this one, this one, this one, this one. Then we have the flat ones, this one, this one, and this one, and this one. And I'm going to put these all into a group, and I'm going to call them thrusters. And I'll save them. That way, if I need to turn them on or off, I can. Oh no, I missed one. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to save it again. So, if I go down here, and I go up here, it'll have them all listed. I'll turn them on. We're on. We're going to release the parking, and look, we have liftoff. As you can see, we have a perfectly capable flyer. It works really nice. We can maneuver around wherever we like. Now we want to land. We just come on down, and now we're going to cry. Because now our landing gear's gone. No! That's okay. It's an easy fix. We'll let it hover for a second. We'll hop out. We'll take a look. Oh look, we have a landing gear. Just one. That's okay. We could have taken these and gotten our motors that way, but you know. So I'm going to run over here. I'm going to jump up in here. We're going to go up, up, up just a hair. Then I'm going to hop out because it'll hover. I know the fuel's low, suit lady. I'm trying to set this up. Let's see here. We're going to go ahead and put a block here. And now I'm going to put a landing gear here so we can actually, like, look like we're landing for real. Actually, we'll put one right here. Go all the way back down to mechanical. And then we're going to do... I think I did that backwards. Ha! I think the rain's in my eyes and it's hard to see. But that's okay. There's that one. And let's get this one out of the way. I like to take these kind of opportunities to fill in underneath. Alright, let's go ahead and get this one in here. And then we'll do one way up front here. We're going to go ahead and put one right here. You know, that way we got a 3-point contact. And now I'll stand up. I'm close enough where I can get in. And now we can go ahead, fly over where we want to go, come down, and now we're locked in place. Then I'll go ahead and hop on here, go to thruster, and turn them off. Then I don't have to worry about them drawing power or anything like that. So thank you so much for joining me for the first episode of this learning series. We are on an Earth-like planet. We're going to see about getting into space. We're going to set up a base here. We're going to set up a base in space. We're going to talk about all kinds of different things, from mining to drilling to building a rover to get stuff around. We'll talk about doing some drones. We'll talk about how to raid things like this base over here that we see, this outpost. How to pull salvage out and stuff like that and utilize it, be able to do a bunch of different things. We'll talk about the different vanilla blocks. You'll get to see some of the DLC blocks because I have all the DLCs. I'm going to try to stick as much as I can to the vanilla stuff, but it's okay. I mean, if I throw something that's DLC in there, odds are there's going to be a vanilla version that you'll be able to use anyway if you don't have any of the DLCs. And then, of course, the mod blocks, I'll only use a few of the ones for the plant ones, only because I like to have them. They're aesthetically nice for me, and I like to be able to utilize the food. If you don't have the ability or want to do anything with mods, you don't have to include those in your playthroughs, but Anyway, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to explain stuff to you. And of course, there's a lot of content and a lot of creators out there that know a lot more than I do, and they're always happy to answer questions, and you can learn a lot from theirs as well. I do want to make the shout out for that. So anyway, please like and subscribe to help the channel out, and I'll see you in the next episode.